Okay, first of all, I hope everybody had a good holiday yesterday with their families. On the injury front, really the only thing to report is Jadeveon is still in the concussion protocol. I'll update anything else that comes out of the next few days on Wednesday. Watching the tape, like we talked about, there were opportunities in that football game. Tough conditions for both football teams, and a evenly matched game, but in the end, didn't make enough plays to win that game, which was tough. And the guys fought like crazy, fought till the end. So disappointed about that, but we know this still got some football left in us, and we know we got Washington starting this week on Sunday. So with that, I will take any questions.
Thank you very much, Coach. We'll start with Tom Withers.
Thanks, Rob. Hey, Kevin. Hope you had a nice holiday as well. In terms of the last couple of games with Miles and Nick, who have both been dealing with stuff, have you considered sitting them for the last two?
Yeah, those type of conversations, Tom, really haven't gotten into. I know this. Every single one of our players wants to compete, wants the opportunity that all of these Sundays provide. So I know all of our guys are excited about that. But as far as those type of conversations, haven't really discussed that yet.
And in reviewing Saturday's game, I know the passing numbers probably started to skyrocket, especially because you had to throw being behind on those last couple of drives. But were you happy with the run pass mix? Did you feel like the game plan was what you wanted it to be?
Yeah, there were, obviously you're trying to find any which way to move the ball, trying to find ways to score points. Had some opportunities in the run game. We probably weren't consistent enough, especially on second down. And then just a couple opportunities where conditions were hard, and there were some third downs where you were trying to throw it, but really in some tough looks. So all in all, always trying to give our guys an opportunity to make a play. There were plays to be made. The wind, was very strong at times, and then did die down at times as well. But tough conditions for really both teams.
Thank you, Tom. Mary Kay Cabot is next.
Yeah, Coach, in reviewing the film, what did you think of how Deshaun Watson played, how he handled the elements, and just overall an assessment of his afternoon?
Yeah, I think that you definitely consider how he played in the elements in some very, very tough situations. But that last drive to be on the field for that long, to make some really, really unbelievable throws in that moment. I know we didn't come down with the ball. Again, it's our guys hold themselves at very high standards, and I applaud Dave after the game. Said he should make that play. That's what he believes, and we know how tough it was. But for those guys to battle in that situation, to have the plays that they had late in the game, I think speaks to how hard they're working.
Does that bode well for the future that Deshaun can get the ball through some of those fierce winds and kind of put it where it needs to go in that type of situation?
Yeah, and I think, obviously that's his first time playing in those type of conditions. Again, like I mentioned, there were at times when the wind was very, very severe, and then late in that drive, in that 2-minute drive at the end there, made some really impressive throws as the wind had died down a bit. But to deal with those conditions for the first time, obviously that cold was something that he hasn't experienced. A lot of our guys haven't experienced that type of cold in the football game.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Scott Petrick, go ahead.
Hey, Kevin, another Deshaun question. When you look back at it, could you or should you maybe have run him more, especially considering the Saints were having success with kind of those direct snap runs?
Yeah, there were a couple opportunities. Scott, to their credit, they adjusted as well, and we're taking the safety out of the middle of the field and just playing him down for the quarterback run game, really selling out for it. So there's always opportunities that we're looking at in that regard, yes.
And there seemed like there were a couple plays where he would kind of roll out and he had a guy in front of him. He could either keep it or dump it down. And a couple times he dumped it down. It didn't really go anywhere. Like, how do you kind of coach him, and what do you guys talk about the decision to keep it or get it out of his hands?
Yeah, those are all game reps that I think you learn from. There's really the one play in particular I think you may be alluding to with Donovan in the flat. He knew. I think he knew it right away. You can always press the line of scrimmage as the quarterback and make those defenders come play you. And if they play you, you dish it. If they don't play you, you run. So he understands that. He's played that game before. So obviously there's plays that he wishes he had done something differently, but by and large, I mean, he battled like crazy.
Thank you, Scott. Let's go to Daryl Ryder.
Yeah, Kevin, we've seen you in the past get real creative with the run game, even using receivers. And it seemed like Saturday might have been an opportunity to do that. Just what was your thought process on holding back on that? Because if I remember correctly, I think only Kareem, Nick, and Deshaun ended up running the ball.
Yeah, there were some things. Daryl just felt like the exchanges, the quarterback to a receiver or a running back pitching it to a receiver, just didn't feel like the conditions warranted plays like that. I think the conditions really made you think long and hard about center quarterback, the long snapper to the punter, all those operational things were very front of mind.
And then just how do you think Cade handled things? I know he made his couple of kicks there, but obviously with some of the home struggles that he's had this year, how do you think he handled things, and how much of an invaluable learning experience was that for him now going forward, playing in those type of conditions? In that,
yeah, I thought he handled it well. I think even in pregame, I think he was handling it really well and was kicking it well. And it's hard because you can't mimic those conditions as you can imagine. You go down to the stadium during the week, but the wind's not nearly what it's going to be. Obviously the cold's not where it's going to be. So all of those reps are important for a young kicker.
Thank you, Daryl. Ashley Bastock is next.
Hey, Kevin, I know you mentioned David Njoku being hard on himself for not making that catch, but I know David Bell was kind of hard on himself for missing that catch that led to the Saints interception and touchdown. I guess for like a rookie, and especially a rookie who's been kind of renowned for his hands so far in his career, how much of a teaching moment is this one like for him?
Yeah, those are the bang, bang plays. We had a very similar play on our interception to that Grant got. He was stumbling a little bit coming out of his break as he was trying to avoid a player. So he was going to the ground. The ball was a little bit more out in front because didn't anticipate him trying to avoid the other player. So a bang, bang play, and you mentioned it, David's a young man that we trust, the quarterbacks trust. He's been very dependable.
Thank you, Ashley. Fred Greetham, you're up.
Hey, Coach. As far as with 2 games to go, what do you feel like there is to accomplish? And are you a believer that you can gain any momentum going into the off season, by finishing strong? And second, do you look at this as an opportunity to look at some of the younger players, or just playing it straight?
Well, I think to your first point there, Fred, we do want to finish strong. You want to finish everything you do. So we understand the scenario that we're in, but we also understand that we have an opportunity this week versus Washington. Then we got another opportunity the following week. So that's really where our focus is. Any of those big picture type of conversations are probably for another time.
Thank you, Fred. Back to Scott Petrick.
Hey, Kevin, why did Miles not play that first series?
That was just a team thing. That was my decision.
Okay. I suppose you're not going to elaborate on that?
Correct.
And why was it important for you and the organization to re-sign Jack?
Yeah, we've talked about Jack in the past and just all the things he stands for, and just think about the rehab that he's gone through this past year and how hard he worked to get himself on the field, how hard he works in the building. He's really a model citizen in that regard, and what we look for, and he's played good football for us. So just felt like that was a great opportunity for us, a great opportunity for him to get something done.
Thank you, Scott. Let's take 2 more. Mary Kay Cabot, Daryl Ryder. Mary Kay.
Just wondering, why was it such tough sledding for Kareem Hunt? Obviously only, it's on his 7 carries. Was it, the situations that he was in, or what was kind of going on there?
Yeah, I don't really distinguish it, Mary Kay, between Kareem and Nick. We at times blocked it really well. At times, 1 or 2 guys really didn't execute it exactly how they could. And again, in tough conditions and where you had to come off the ball, and it was going to be a lot of dirty runs. And Nick had a couple opportunities to scoot through some of the holes, and Kareem did not, but it wasn't for a lack of effort.
Thanks.
Thank you, Mary Kay. Final question, Daryl Ryder.
Yeah, Kevin, obviously winning and losing in the NFL is just such a real fine line. We've touched on the close call with the throw to David and stuff like that. It just seems like that's been a little bit of an underlying theme this year. Opportunities close, but just not able to make those key plays. Just from your perspective as a coach, when you evaluate those situations, what do you think you guys can do to get to a point where you make those difference making plays when they matter the most going forward?
Yeah, I think it's, to your point, listen, there are going to be plays in the game that are, game on the line. You got to make a play. Dave goes up versus Tampa on 4th down and makes the play. Obviously, we would have loved to have made the play last week, but I think for us, so much of the focus goes on those plays. And as a coach, I can go back to the first play or second play of the game and talk about how we could have done something differently. Players, coaches, you name it. So you never know when that play is going to happen in the course of a game that's going to change the course of the game. And that's why the focus really is in terms of playing a 60-minute football game. And if you do that, if you're playing clean offense, defense, special teams from the beginning, maybe don't put yourself in the position where it's a tight ball game. So again, the guys are going to make sure that they're working hard, understand what they have to do, and we got to just put them in position to make plays.